Hey guys, how you doing? It's KevTech here bringing another video on information technology. I hope you're having a good day. Happy Sunday. And today I want to go over the continuation of my lab. So this is lab 4. Lab 3 yesterday was me creating a help desk account. I showed you how to enable the recycle bin on server 2016. And I also showed you how to copy and create a copy of the admin account and actually create it as a help desk account. So obviously, if you're new to my channel, I do IT videos, desktop support videos, talk about how to get into IT. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell too. That way you know when I go live, because I do plan on going live this whole month for mock interviews. And also follow me on Discord, because I am on Discord. We do a bunch of things there that we normally don't do on YouTube. All right. So let me share my screen with you. Give me a second. Let me exit out of my applications. Let's see, get out of this, go to that. All right. So today we're gonna do. What are we doing today? So today we're gonna install Windows 10 on the VM. Then we're gonna join that to a domain, and then we're gonna do a bunch of other things. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Okay. So let's go to share screen one. So remember, we have a server 2016 installed already. So I am gonna open that up. I'm gonna close out this. Let's open that up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log into this thing right over here. I'm gonna do Control Alt Delete. Just leave that logged in for a second. Remember, we created a help desk account, so keep that in mind. Should be an account called help desk, and there is, and he's part of certain members over here. All right, so what we're gonna do is, um, we're gonna go into our Google browser or our web browser, whatever it is. We're gonna do Windows 10 bootable USB, and we click on ISO file. We click the first one. I'll leave the link below in the description because I'm trying to get Windows 10 and I'm trying to install it on a VM. So how would you do that? You have to go to the Windows 10 website and you actually have to grab the ISO from the website. If you don't do that, you cannot do anything on the VM side. So you need to get the ISO. So you do is you download tool now, you click on it. Then when you click on it, it says getting a few things ready. I already have the ISO. I just want to show you what you should be doing when you download it because I don't want to be skipping parts of the video and be like, wait, what did he do? How did he get that file? Where did that, where did that come from? Where's the file coming from? So obviously I want to show you like how to get the file where that makes sense. You hit accept. Just give that a few minutes, give it a second. Just bear with me, give it a second. Yeah, just bear with me. So here we're not upgrading. If you do this, you're gonna mess up your computer. So don't click on that one. You click on this one. Click create and installation media USB and ISO because we're grabbing the ISO. I'm gonna install it on the VM. If that makes sense. You hit next. Me, I don't do this. I click on the uncheck this and I change this. So like if it says Windows 10, it says Windows 10 64, but I'll leave it alone. Just leave it alone for now. It depends on how you want to do it. So this one, you click ISO file and you hit next. And then it's going to be called Windows. And then you tell it where you want it to go. It could be on your desktop. It could be in downloads. It could be wherever you want. So obviously, I'm not going to create anything today. I hit quit, close out of that. So I'm gonna leave that alone. I just wanted to show you how to do that because you guys need to do this if you're trying to make your own lab at home. So once you have the file, mine is obviously somewhere else. Mine's on my desktop. Obviously, it's called Windows. Once you have the file, you just create a new virtual box or VM if that makes sense. So you put Windows 10. We'll call it lab for this one since we already have the server called lab. I'm gonna hit next. I have a lot of memory, so I'm gonna put 8 gigs of RAM and hit create, next, 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 install. So for me, I like to just click the start button right over here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell it to go to that Windows ISO. By default it goes to it because I already done this before. And it says right there, see users main see because my account's called main user. So if you hover over it, it says see users main users desktop. It's pointing to my desktop right over here. That the ISO's right in the background over here. That makes sense. So I'm gonna hit Windows ISO and hit start. And then immediately it's going to start to run. I'm going to make it a little bigger so you guys could see it. There we go. So I changed the view settings right over here. I changed it to 125. So then you hit next. You hit install. Obviously, it's English. I mean, unless you want to change the language, it's entirely up to you. But I don't have a product key, which is totally fine. You hit Windows 10 Pro. If you hit Home Edition, is that going to help you? Because we're trying to add it to a domain. So you need the Pro version, if that makes sense. So you hit next. Accept terms. Next. We're not upgrading anything because we have not installed anything. So hit install Windows now and hit next. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So you leave that. Let's leave that running in the background. Let's go back to Server 2016. And what I want you to do is I want you to make your own. I want you to make this into a static IP. Why are we doing that? It's because we don't have a Cisco router. We don't have a switch. We don't have anything we could actually put on a server and a router. And if you try to use your IP address of your ISP like mine, like I have Verizon, if you do that, it's gonna give you a bunch of problems. And I don't want to do that. I want to make my own little lab with static IPs, if that makes sense. So what I want to do is I'm going to create a fake IP address, and then I'm going to add that. I'm going to add this computer to a domain as well. I'm going to add a fake IP address to that as well. So IP address is Internet Protocol, or it's an IP that's set to it. So right now this IP is probably 192 or something like that. So let's do IP config. It's actually 10.0.2.15. So right now I want to change that to something else. Why? It's because I don't want to complicate myself, and I actually want to have a static IP so I could make my own little lab and I could play around with it. And obviously, if you set it to DHCP to obtain IP automatically, your internet is going to work. But right now in this one, my internet will not work if I set it to static IP, if that makes sense. It's for a lab environment, obviously. That's the reason why I'm doing this. It's for a lab environment. So let me look for my notes, because I do have notes on this. So just give me a second. Yeah, so let me open up my notepad. Obviously, you could use whatever IP you want. Mine is going to be 10.1.10.2. It's 255.0000, 10.1.10.1 right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to the start menu. While this is installing in the background, if that makes sense, because it's still installing, I'm going to type control panel. I'm going to change this to view network status and task. I'm going to hit change adapter settings. I'm going to hit internet. I'm going to hit properties. I'm going to hit TCP IPv4, and I'm going to put all those numbers in this. I'm going to put 10.1, 10.2. Leave that alone. 10.1, 10.1. Leave that alone. And I'm going to put preferred DNS 10.1, 10.2, 10.1, 10.1. So it's just a lab environment. So I'm putting a static IP because I am making my own little lab. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go into network. I'm going to hit network settings, because otherwise I can't join into a domain. It's going to keep picking up network address translation, the NAT. I'm going to put host only adapter. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to leave it alone. It looks like I have no internet, which is totally fine. And then I'm gonna go back to Windows 10, and I'm gonna add this computer to a domain. I'm gonna show you how to do all that right now. Okay, just bear with me. I just right clicked and removed the disk because I don't need it anymore. I'm waiting for this to finish up. Just give it a second. Yeah, let's give it a second. Yeah, just bear with me. I'm waiting for it to finish loading. I don't want to pause the video or anything because I want to show you realistically what happens when you do it. So So just for this, we're gonna do another notepad, and I'm gonna put here username and password. So why am I doing that? This is the username for the local account, so you don't forget. So for this one, it's gonna be we'll call it administrator. Password is gonna be welcome one, if it lets me change it to that. This is for my local account on Windows 10. So I don't forget what the password is. And I'm gonna put this on my desktop, and I'm gonna put local password for VM 10. Just so I know what it is. I'm gonna leave it on the side. All right, so here you just hit yes. Here you get here US. Skip. Just give that a second. Set up for personal use. Next. Offline account. You're just creating a local account or an account that's not on the domain or anything. So here is where you want to put it. So we're going to put administrator. Otherwise, we just put user. I'm going to hit next. So I'll show you what I'm going to do instead. You'll see what I'm going to do. Accept. So I put no password on it. I'm going to show you how to, whatever, put yes. I'm going to show you how to enable the admin account. This usually an admin account by default on Windows 10. So we'll do that then instead. Make life easier for everyone. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Should be easy. Since there's already an admin account by default on Windows 10. I always forget about that. So you could just go ahead and enable that account. And I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, just give that a second. It's almost done. We're almost done. Gotta have patience with computers, you know? Even VMs, you gotta have patience with VMs. Just give it a second. You gotta have patience with this, otherwise you're not gonna be able to do anything. So just have patience with the Windows 10 machine or the lab machine. So just give it a second. Okay, it should be done now. This is almost there. It's gonna be done. There we go. All right. So what we're gonna do is I am going to enable the admin account. How do you do that? I'm logged in as an admin account already as a user, but I want to use that account. I want to use the admin account. So I'm gonna hit the little yellow triangle down here. So I'm gonna click on that. I'm gonna right click on this PC and I'm gonna hit manage. So if you ever want to get into a user account, you can go to manage. You right click here, hit manage. Obviously, this is a admin account, so you won't get UAC prompt. So what the hell? What does that mean? What is UAC prompts? UAC is change user account control settings. So this here right here, it will notify you if you need admin credentials to get into it. But in this case, I don't need that. So I'm gonna right click on this PC. I'm gonna hit manage, and then I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go to local users and groups users, and I'm gonna right click on this account called administrator. I'm gonna hit properties. I'm gonna put account is disabled. I'm gonna check that. Password never expires. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna hit apply. I'm gonna hit OK. So now it's enabled. When it's like the arrow pointing down, that means it's disabled. Just remember that, okay? If you're brand new to IT. So what you do is you right click on it. You do set password, proceed. So I'm gonna do what I said before. I'm gonna do welcome one. If it lets me, welcome one. Okay. So then I'm gonna do is close out of that, close out of that. I'm gonna right click here. I'm gonna hit sign out. I am going to log in as the administrator. See, it's already there by default. So I'm going to do is I'm going to do welcome one. I'm going to log in as the admin account. Because by default in all these environments, so in all these environments where you work a help desk IT support, usually you have an admin account. So they usually have an admin account and you could just log in as a local account. Because sometimes what happens is the computer falls on the domain. So you get a trust relationship error message. You get the relationship of this computer. The computer has fallen from the domain. So you have to log in as a local account. And then you have to basically remove it from the domain and then re-add it again, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I'm going over this, because you need to know about your local account, if that makes sense. So let me share my screen again. This is very important, by the way. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna go to the C Explorer. I'm gonna right click on this PC again. Just give it a second. Yep, I'm gonna hit manage. And I'm gonna remove that user account because it's not safe for me. So I'm gonna right click on it and I'm gonna hit delete. I'm gonna hit delete user and I'm gonna hit OK. So now we only have one account on this. I'm gonna hit sign out. So I'm gonna sign out because I want to show you something real quick that you need to know that's very important. I'm gonna hit Control Delete. So you see right here, it doesn't say anything like domain controller or any of that. Just keep that in mind. Once we log into a domain controller, you're gonna see it changes. Okay. So I'm gonna do capital P, not capital P. Sorry, welcome one. I got my notepad right over here. Just remember your account. Obviously, mine is this administrator, or it's gonna be welcome one. Just remember that. Okay. All right. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go in here, and I want this desktop to be for the help desk person that's gonna help users, right? So this is a lab environment. Just keep in mind it's a lab environment. But I want this help desk person to have access to the thing that server manager has. Like this. See here. See over here. I'm gonna go to start menu, server manager. Like if you work IT help desk, you're not gonna have access to all this. This is too much access. So I want to give him access to only the essentials of these applications that are here, if that makes sense. So how do you do that? I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to go in here to the start menu. I'm going to go into programs. I'm going to go to add and remove programs. I'm going to go to optional features. I'm going to go to add a feature. And I'm going to scroll all the way down. And I'm going to go to RSAT tools. And I'm going to give him access to RSAT tools. I'm going to give him access to RSAT tools, domain services, DHCP server tools, DNS, and I'm going to give him access to group policy, and I'm going to give him access to remote desktop services. I'm going to give him access to server manager and a bunch of other things. And I'm going to hit install. So what is all that you're about to see right now? This is going to be very interesting today. So RSAT tools gives you the ability to have Active Directory users and computers on a Windows 10 machine. So I don't know if you guys saw my video yesterday. I had an interview with someone. So let me stop sharing for a second. All right. So I don't know if you guys saw. I had an interview. I had a practice interview with someone yesterday, and they said you could install Active Directory on Windows 10. I'm like, yes, you can. You have to download RSAT tools. So as a help desk person, you will not have access to Server Manager. Just remember that. Obviously, if you do help desk or IT support, they will never give you access to Server Manager unless you're like level, I don't know, like a level 2 or sysadmin or something like that. Then you'll have access to it. For this lab environment, I'm installing a bunch of things that you normally will not have access to. But if you go on a job interview, and then if you actually go in an interview and they ask you like, you're a brand new help desk person and you don't have access to Active Directory on our systems, but you're able to download whatever you like, what would be the first thing you do, or what should you be installing on your computer in order for you to have access to our systems? The answer for that would be RSAT tools. So I just did that right now. I went to optional features and I'm installing RSAT tools right now. And I'm installing all these other tools right now. And I'm going to show you what they do and how they work, just so you see how it works on Windows 10. Because you can actually download Active Directory using computers on Windows 10. And you have everything you need on your Windows 10 laptop or computer. You don't have to actually, log into a server or connect to a server, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. So let me share my screen with you again. Give me a second. It says installed. All right. Let me do screen share again. All right. It says install. All right. Everything's installed. So for this, sometimes it doesn't work right away. Look, everything is in there. Look at this. Active Directory. You got Azure. You got remote desktop services. You got systems in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just restart, because sometimes when you install those things, they don't work properly. So I'm gonna restart and just let it restart. Okay, give it a second. Obviously, it's a lab environment. So you remember RSAT tools. You have access to RSAT tools if you're help desk or IT support. They will give you access to that. Unless your company is very limited, then they won't give you access to that. But you should know what this is, and you should know how to answer that in a job interview. They ask you, like, what tool can you add on your computer that will allow you access to Active Directory users and computers? The answer for that would be RSAT tools. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So you go here, and you have everything in here. Obviously, you can't open it or do anything. Let me. Let's just open it and see what happens. So, Active Directory users and computers. You'll probably get a bunch of error messages. Yeah, because there's nothing here, right? There's nothing here. So don't worry about this. You'll see what I'm about to do right now. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to put this on the right hand side, right? And I'm gonna put my server on the left hand side, right? As a help desk person, IT person, you want to add this computer to a domain, right? So remember, I put the IP addresses right over here. So I'm gonna open up this. I'm gonna click the start menu. I'm gonna do CMD. I'm gonna do IP config, and it's 10.1.10.1.10.2, right? So that's the IP address. Just keep that in mind. So you need to know the IP address of your domain, whether it's kevtech.com, I don't know, JobSkillshare, LinkedIn, or whatever website it is. You need to know the IP address of that specific domain, whether it's KevTech or any of those domains. You need to know the IP address, because otherwise you can't connect to that server. Anyone can have kevtech.com on the cloud somewhere with that domain name or whatever that name is, right? So you need to know the IP address of that server that you're connecting to when you're adding it to a domain. So hopefully that makes sense. So what we do is, that's why we do IP config, IP config. We do ping. We do NS lookup. We do all these things, because you have to know how to add it to a domain. So basically, what we're gonna do right now is, because I downloaded everything I needed now. Now when I want to add this computer to a domain. But before I do that, I want to rename it. So you hit the little C Drive Explorer right over here. You right click on this PC. You hit Properties. You hit Change Settings. You hit Change, and I'm gonna call it Desktop 1. I'm gonna hit OK. So every time you change the name of a computer, you have to go here and restart the computer. Let me make you restart again. So we're gonna restart right now. And you saw there's a bunch of error messages because RSAT tools it's there, but it's not, this computer's not on a domain or anything, so you can't really do anything, right? You're about to see right now. It's about to change right now in like 2 seconds. So let it restart. It's gonna be welcome one again. So remember your local admin account. Just remember that, because I'm gonna go over that right now as well. So just remember that. So this is desktop 1. Desktop 2 will be the user account that you're troubleshooting or helping, if that makes sense. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to open up Microsoft Edge. I'm going to go to google.com. I'm going to do Chrome download. Just to have it. I'm downloading Chrome, download Chrome, accept, install, run. You can do whatever you want with your lab. What I'm doing a bunch of different things right now. So I am running Chrome right now. I'm installing Chrome. So just give that a second. Because it's on the network right now. So obviously when I put a static IP, there's going to be no internet. So you're about to see what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to do google.com again. I'm going to download TeamViewer. I'm going to hit download. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit Windows. Download TeamViewer. I'm gonna unpin that, unpin that, unpin that, pin. I'm gonna pin that. Let me close out of it by accident, but it's right here. It's okay. I'm gonna open it up. Just give that a second. It's gonna be a little slow. It's okay. Accept. So now we have TeamViewer on this computer, which is totally fine. And close out of that. Don't worry about that. All right. So now what we're gonna do is, close out of that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually add this computer to a domain. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. So remember, we can't. Let's see if we could ping that IP address. This is probably gonna be something different. So we'll do ping. So you do help desk or IT support, you need to know what ping is. Ping is like the number one thing we do in help desk IT support if you're brand new, if that makes sense. You do 10.1.10.2. It's probably not gonna work. Which is totally fine. Don't worry about that. So now what we're gonna do is I am gonna go into the start menu again. I'm gonna type control panel. I'm gonna open that up. I'm gonna hit view network status and task. I'm gonna hit change adapter settings. Double click on internet, right? Properties, TCP IPv4, and I'm gonna change all this. So I'm gonna do, since that's 10.1.10.2, I'm gonna do 10.1, 10.3 instead, and I'm gonna do 10.1.10.1. The default gateway is always gonna, the default gateway is 10.1.10.1 for this one. So that's what I'm gonna do for this one. And I'm gonna do 10.1.10. Remember, we don't have a Cisco router, so we have to use some sort of other IP address, whether it's whatever, it could be whatever you want, but they have to be able to talk to each other, if that makes sense. So you hit OK, you hit OK, you hit close, you hit close, you hit close. So now I'm gonna try that again, and I'm gonna see if I could ping 10.1.10.2, and it's probably still gonna give me a hard time, if that makes sense. So what you gotta do is, because of VirtualBox and all these things, all these things that go on, you have to go in the view tab right over here, input. You go to devices, you go into network, you hit network settings. You would change this to host adapter only. You hit OK. Then you try ping again to see if it does anything. It looks like it wants to work. It looks like it wants to work, but we'll see. So it should work now. So now if you go into, I'm not trying to turn on firewall, by the way. So people are like, oh, you should turn on firewall. It should work. You don't need that. You don't need to do all that. So what you do is you go to this PC, you right click on this PC, you hit properties, you hit change settings, you hit change, you hit domain. And we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it now. Kevtech.com. Remember, I told you it could be whatever you want it to be. But you have to know the IP address of that DNS or domain name service. Or domain name server. If you don't know that, then it becomes a problem, if that makes sense. So it's maybe password 3. You hit OK. So now it's part of Kevtech.com. It actually worked. You saw how I picked it up right away. So then I'm gonna go over here. And how do you know it's actually on the domain or actually on this server? You hit Active Directory using computers. You hit computers. It should be right there. It's desktop 1. There we go. So we got our help desk account right over here. I'm going to hit reset password. I'm going to do capital P, password 123, exclamation point, capital P, password 123, exclamation point. I'm going to try to log in with help desk. So immediately, it's still a local account right over here. But if you hit other user, you already know that it's called kevtech.com. So it's logged into kevtech.com. How do you confirm that even further? There's a button right over here. You're gonna click on that. Look at that. Type domain, top domain name / domain user to sign into another domain. Desktop 1 / local user to sign into this PC only, not a domain. So this might be an IT interview question. So just keep that in mind, okay? So I'm gonna log in with help desk. Capital P, password 123, exclamation point. It should let me in. So I'm gonna log in with that account, right? Which it's kind of cool now. So you're about to see a lot of different things. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that. Yes, you could do a lot of different things with labs. I love labs. I told people lab every day, bro. It's gonna help you, bro or girl, whoever. Like lab every day. It's gonna help you. Trust me. It's gonna help you on your resume. It's going to help you in your confidence. It's going to give you a big confidence boost. So that's the reason why I go over this. So it's to help people that are new to IT. It's definitely going to help you. You're going to be happy once you do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the start menu right over here. We're going to scroll down. You have server manager right over here. If you see it, I don't know if you see it. Active Directory using computers. Click on that. Kevtech.com. And now you have access to RSAT tools. That's how you do it. So that's pretty much how you do it. Now you have access to everything. You have your computer right there. You have your help desk thing right there. And you have your remote desktop team viewer right over here. If you actually want to remote into someone else's computer, you could definitely do that from here. So there's things things you could do. You know, it's kind of cool actually. So you don't have no ID here or anything, so that it's okay. You know, it's just practice. It's just practice. So obviously you can take it off the network if you like. That's entirely up to you. This is just practice. So you see our set of tools works. So now if you're a help desk guy, you actually just go in here and open that up. You know, you don't have to do anything fancy, anything else. You right click on this, you hit pin, and now you have it there every time. Obviously, this is a server admin person, so they have access to server manager. Look at this. Server manager is right over here. And you have access to do everything. So if you're a help desk level 2 or sysadmin, this is what you'll have access to. But if you're brand new to IT, they're not gonna give you all that. That's too much. They'll probably just give you this Active Directory using computers, and that's it. So I'm gonna shut this down. I'm gonna go to the server. I'm gonna shut that down. Just keep in mind about the IP addresses, otherwise you're gonna get confused. Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much it. It's just to help people that are brand new to IT. That's how you make your own little lab. That's how you install RSAT tools, and that's how you log in with Help Desk, and that's how you download all these other applications and Server Manager and all that good stuff. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this helps you out. And just remember that there's always a way to do something on Windows 10. We just had an RSAT tools. You could do that on your computer. If you have a work computer, you could do it on the work computer. You got to give you access to that, obviously, but that's how you would do it if you work at a help desk environment. All right. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great Sunday. All right. Take care. Peace. Later.